Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of the My Games Recruitment Show, where we are going to be talking about how you can be in the top 5% of rep firms who are using AI. We're going to talk about tools to help you be more effective at marketing and BD. And we have a great guest who many of you will know. Before then though, I am joined by the one and only Mike Ames. How you doing, big guy?
Well, I've got a bit of a cold, so I caught off the grandchildren. Can't seem to shift it. They had it for about 20 minutes and recovered. I have still got it a week later and I'm not recovered.
Can you see this? For those on the podcast, I'm playing the tiniest violin in the world.
Oh, really? That's very amusing. Ha ha ha. It's lucky I've got my corset on because otherwise my sides would split laughing, but I'm laughing on the inside. So just so you know.
It's the little things. It's working with family that really changes the game.
I need
for
to
you.
look at that.
Okay, Big Mike. So tell us today why we're talking about AI. AI's been around forever. Why are we talking about this today? Why did you want it on the show?
Okay, well, I mean, we've all had experiences of AI. I think pretty much everybody watching this will have done. But there's some things that AI does really well, not as many as you'd think. There are a lot of things AI doesn't do very well at all. And then the area where I think it's underutilized most is marketing. I really don't think people are joining the dots up. And I was out for drinks with Nitin some time ago, and we were talking about this, and we were discussing what we recommend our clients do, and so on and so forth. Just seemed to me to be a really good subject for a discussion. So this show is a little different from most of them. Nitin and I are going to talk our way through this, and then we are going to get to some very specific things. But I think there is a journey with this, because without the context, I don't think really that it holds that much in the way of value. But what I'd ask you, if I can, on a scale of 1 to 10, right, 1 being not at all and 10 being all the time, how much do you use AI in your marketing? So not AI for other things, but AI in your marketing. 1, I don't use it at all. 10, I use it all the time. Just pop that in the comments so that we can just get a view, or in the chat, I should say, just so we can get a view for what you're doing with it at the moment. We won't mention you by name or anything like that. We just want to get a view of it. So
okay. So without further ado, shall I bring the big man in himself?
Let's get him in. Let's get the talent on.
Hello, Nitin.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you're a very special guest and you're well loved. So, you know, we do what the people want, don't we?
And I missed the first one because I was away, and Pete did it with you, I think. So that was the warm-up act. You know, I'm the real deal.
Yeah. Now I get the main event. Yeah.
Now, Mike, most people know who Nitin is. Do you want to just, for those who maybe are new to him, do you want to explain?
For our target viewers, perhaps.
Those who've been in a
target viewers have never heard of him, right? Okay, so Nitin is the founder and CEO of RecTools, which I'm sure he'll tell us about in a moment. He's also the host in Rec Talks, which is a very, very, very popular podcast. It's one of the most popular in our space. If you don't check it out, please do. Kirsty will put a link in the comments for you, so go and have a look at that. And also, he's the co-founder of the Recruitment Curry Club, which I've been to. I really like it. They do them all over the country. And I think now I saw some in Australia. So not just in the UK. If you're listening to this other places, there are other places. You can go. Really good to go and talk to people and just chat. You don't have to worry about selling or anything, really. It's great. And get some curry. I mean, is there a downside? I don't think so. So welcome to the show, Nitin.
Thank you.
Can we start by just getting a little sense to kind of how you got to where you got to, and maybe just flesh out some of the things that I've just said.
Yeah. I always say that I started, grew, scaled, and ultimately failed a recruitment business. During that time, learned a lot of things that we shouldn't have done, and then kind of felt as though maybe recruitment wasn't for me, and I needed to sort of do something else. I was very good at getting my head around tech and getting my head around kind of the sort of sales and marketing element of the business. That was kind of my forte. I had a business partner who used to look after the back office stuff and kind of manage the team, because I hated managing people. And so I started this idea of, hey, I wonder if it would be useful to have a directory of all the suppliers that are out there, with their rankings and ratings and all that sort of stuff, pulled through kind of valid sources and stuff like Google and Trustpilot and so on and so forth to make life easier, because I felt as a recruitment business owner that would have been useful. So we built it, and boy did they come. Like we started hitting numbers of sort of between 2,000 and 3,000 visitors on the site every kind of month, and we was like, oh, okay, there's something here. And then it was more of a, okay, how do I get my name and brand out there, and kind of what's the one thing that isn't done in the industry that I could kind of go, hey, I want to make that my thing. And podcasts have always been around in the recruitment space, but nobody really seemed to take YouTube and video content seriously. And for me, that was kind of like, I think video is where the direction of travel is. I think that's where kind of everyone seems to be moving. So we're going to focus on that. Fast forward sort of 2.5 years. We now are the largest recruitment podcast in the world, actually. So we're at 188,000 subscribers at point of recording. We're the only. I love saying this bit. We're the only ones with one of these. That's an official YouTube.
Very jealous.
It took some work, but look, people don't tune in to listen to me. What I've been very fortunate at doing is being able to platform the people who are behind the products and services that we work with on at Rectals, right? And that's who they come to listen to. I play the role of the recruitment business owner going, but what if? How does that help me? What problem does that solve? And we now drop 2 episodes a week. We have a full media service for our clients. And yeah, it's pretty cool because I've got to turn what was effectively a little hobby into a actual job and business. But if you ask my kids, Daddy's job is to film videos on YouTube and take his friends out for a curry. So,
well, I can't think that that's a particularly bad job to have, really.
Hey, no. Look, I'm sometimes the talk of the playground, like, you know, especially when my little one starts walking around. So we've got one of these at home, and my little one snuck it into her bag to take to school to show for show and tell, and I was like, "You did what?" So yeah, this is my dad's. Like, you know.
If I know that's going to happen, what I'll do is turn up at the playground, right, mug her, because I'm that kind of guy. And next time you'll see it here, right behind me, because that's the kind of guy I am, isn't it, Kirsty?
It is exactly the kind of guy he is.
It was great, but no, yeah, it's good. And then obviously I'm part of the Recruitment Curry Club, which is I like to call it the anti-networking event. We have one strict policy, which is no sales chat. There's something kind of subtly beautiful about being at your most vulnerable when you're a few pints in and you've eaten something really, really spicy, where people, your peers are asking you how are things going, and you can't. The mask falls, and it's not, yeah, things are great. It's actually, do you know what? I'm really struggling with these things. And what we found is that there are a lot of good people in this industry. I for many, many years thought our industry was so toxic and full of just horrible, nasty people. And it turned out that actually I was just in the wrong rooms. And so what we decided to do was create the rooms where like-minded people come to chat, to support each other. You know, and that's not just recruitment business owners. We have talent acquisition turn up. We have recruitment suppliers turn up. We have marketing specialists. We have, people who run tech products. We have people who run back office functions, and they're there not to sell, but to actually just support and guide people and educate people. And it's been one of the fastest growing things that I've been a part of. You know, like you said, we've got Australia. There's events happening all the time now in Australia. There's events happening in New York all the time. We've got our first event happening in Dublin soon, and then of course we've got we're the unofficial after party of the Recruitment Agency Expo, which is pretty cool too.
I'm going to try and get there on the Tuesday, because I'm there on the Tuesday. But the trouble for me is I'm old now, and I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get down there. So I might be flagging when my face might fall into the curry. So we'll see.
Make sure you take a video if that happens.
Try
yeah. No, the expo event might not be the one to go to then, Mike, because that is our karaoke event. So we've got a good friend of mine who's the DJ, and then we've got an Indian drum player, and we've basically rented out the entire venue. It's just going to be a crazy party.
Actually, go to bed early with a cup of cocoa. Okay, well, look, great. Thanks for that, setting the scene for you a little bit there. That's great. So, can I just hog the podcast just for a second or two, because we're going to talk about content predominantly, not exclusively, but we are going to talk about content. And I just wanted to explain the importance of this, because Without it, people think, oh, well, I know what that is. I don't really understand how that all works, or who cares? What difference does it make? I'd say in today's world, really good quality content is the differentiator between people that get by and people that do great things, or at least get noticed. They do great things if they're good at recruitment, right? But it's the getting noticed to start with. And there's two kinds of content. There's thin content, which is a LinkedIn post, for example, or Instagram post, or wherever you happen to post, or even down to like a blog post that you might put out. It's thin stuff. You put it out there, it gets consumed over a few days, it disappears, never to be seen again. It's really important to do that because it's a way that you can communicate your key messages. It's a way that you can add a bit of value. It's a way that you can get noticed. It's a way that you can promote your brand and yourself. And also, very importantly, it's a way that you can get interactions with people. They interact, they kind of self-select. I'm here because I've just commented or liked your post. So it's really important to do that. But that's not the thing that's going to build an empire for you. The thing that builds an empire is chunky content. And our definition of chunky content is content that's almost good enough that people would pay for it. It's almost that good, right? So we always think of things like the salary survey is a classic. You know, if it's a really good quality salary and benefits survey, that's incredibly useful for people who are looking to make sure that they're offering the right amount of reward for people to come and work for them. But there's lots and lots of things, and that chunky content is great because it does differentiate and it adds value, just like the thin content. But it starts conversations. And this is the problem with business development, is that if you're doing BD, because our industry is very transactional, the deal is, and I'm paraphrasing, is I want to start a conversation because I want to sell to you. That's what I want to do. Everybody knows that. I'm ringing up, sending emails because I've got a candidate or I want to get a vacancy. It's very transactional. What really good quality chunky content does is change the narrative away from can I sell to you, which is not attractive to a lot of people, to can I add value to you with this thing that I have that you might want. And if you get that right, and this is going to be the nub really of the conversation today, if you get that content right, people will say, yes, I want that. I want to consume that because that's bloody useful. So if you've got really good quality content, it can be a game changer in business development and client care, and also candidate attraction as well, weirdly. I'll just say this last thing, and I'm going to cut back to Kirsty then. So the challenge that we always get when we talk about this is the same challenge is, well, okay, well, what do we talk about and how do we produce it? I haven't got time, I'm busy, there's only me and whatever, or the team's flat out on delivery. And that's what we're going to talk about today, those two things in detail a little later. Because if you can crack that, if you can get really good quality content that people want, and you can produce it like that or as close to that as you can manage, game changer. I promise it's a game changer. So I just wanted to set the scene so you could see how important this actually is before we launch into it.
Very well said, Father. Very well said. Okay, so thank you for that. So Nitin, as we kind of mentioned, and as you kind of very kindly demonstrated when you introduced yourself, you speak to a lot of people in this space. You are probably one of the most well-connected people in this space. So can you tell us, from what you've heard, from what you hear, what are people currently doing in this space around content and AI? What do you see people actually using, or how are they doing it?
It's a good question. I think before I answer that, I want to kind of hit a couple of home truths just to sort of set the scene of where I'm coming at this from, because some of this might sound a bit attacky and it's not meant to be, right? Recruitment used to be a sales business. It is not anymore. It hasn't been for at least a decade. It is not a sales business. Business development is not cold calling and sales. Business development is a good combination and a blend of a marketing strategy and selling techniques, right? And the last thing is that recruitment is a data business, and it always has been. It's always been a data business. Where a lot of the businesses that I'm seeing seem to be becoming kind of a bit stuck is they see content as just a cheeky little selfie, or here's some stuff going on behind the scenes in our office, you know, or you know, I just need to put something out, right? No value behind it, no thought process, no strategy. It's just I've been told I need to post on LinkedIn, or I joined a course that told me I need to post on LinkedIn more often, and so that's what I'm now trying to do. No thought process really behind kind of the value of content that they're putting out, not really understanding the value of what that platform can deliver for them, and then defaulting to, this isn't working, I'm just going to go and make some cold calls again, right? I'm just going to pull up my ledger and go A to Z and just start blasting through. Hey, you hiring? No. Hey, you hiring? No. Hey, you hiring? Oh, yes. Oh, okay. Can I have it exclusive? No. Okay, I'll have it at 15%. That's kind of the crux of the issue here, is that because we're not doing the good stuff properly, or the stuff that does work, we're not doing it properly. We're trying it, we're saying it doesn't work, or we're buying it and saying it doesn't work, chucking it in the trash and going back to status quo. The difference maker is, though, that the market is very, very different now. And I can categorically say that when I started my recruitment business in 2014, if I employed those tactics that I did then today, I wouldn't be billing a button. I would not have any traction in the market whatsoever, and it just wouldn't work right now, right? Because the market has shifted. When I say the market has shifted,
I think that
there's geopolitical issues to consider, there's financial issues to consider, there's technology to consider, and above all else, we are in a completely new age with how buyers buy. B2B and B2C aren't two separate things anymore. There's B2C and there's B2B2C, right? Because the people that are in the decision-making processes to purchase those B2B products or offerings, including recruitment, they're fucking people too. And they have a way that they like to buy things. They have a decision-making process, not that is defined to them by their decision makers above them, but actually they're the purse string holder, and you need to sell to them.
Well,
not the
just
business.
on that, to unpack a couple of things. I mean, that I couldn't agree more, really. I think that's extremely well put. I just wanted to pick on 2 points there. First of all, your point about what worked in 2014. In fact, what worked in 2019 and probably 2020 as well, for most of it, doesn't work now. And I think the golden age of recruitment is recognized to be from about 2011 to about 2022. And anybody could make money in that time. It really wasn't that difficult, quite frankly, to turn a coin. But now it's different. And for the reasons that you said, the rise of AI is costing jobs because end clients have taken on more themselves. TAs are helping that. The rise of virtual TAs now starting to creep into the market, where much smaller companies now can outsource to a TA a few days a month.
Cost of employing, the ability to hire people offshore, employer of record, the global economy that we now operate in. My entire team are based either in South Africa or Poland. In fact, no, one person's based in the UK, and he's my friend, and he's a freelance editor. Well, I don't see the value in hiring in the UK right now because it's just too expensive.
Well, that changed, didn't it? I think with South Africa, because India, the criticism was always, oh well, look, you can't let them near the phones, which I think was a bit unfair anyway. But that was the perception of it.
No, but if your customer base is less forgiving, and they are, let's be honest, if you're putting a call center in India to do customer facing roles, even at customer service level, there is an immediate bias that kicks in because bias exists. It's a real thing. Whereas actually for South Africa, people seem to be a lot more forgiving of that accent.
That is a game changer, isn't it? In terms of you can move a lot more stuff. But the point, the second thing I wanted to come to is you reinforced it there. What most people see as content is actually just thin content.
Yeah.
It's LinkedIn posts. You've got to get that right. Of course you have. There's no sense producing stuff that people don't want to read, and you have to think it through and structure. But that's not that difficult. I've seen a lot of AI produced posts, and you can always tell, half the time because they put hyphens in there, and a preponderance of memes and various things swirling around. You just think, no, there's no soul to what you've written there. It's better than nothing, or is it? I don't know. But
to Sue's point in the chat, it's not authentic, right?
No.
But this is the problem. People think that is the only way to use AI within their content. I either have to have it produce my LinkedIn posts and my content blogs and stuff for me and try and pretend to be me, or I have to do it myself. And there's such a gap in the middle of where you can use AI properly, which I know is the point of today's conversation, and we'll come on to that because that's the bit, right? We work on as a business, we work on sort of two content pillars or two sort of what we call RevOps pillars. And the first is social pebbling and the other is social proofing. And social pebbling is reminding your audience and your network and your community that you exist and what problem you solve, and that this is what we're about. And that's that thin content, but it's relevant enough of kind of just constantly pebbling out a little bit at a time. This is who we are. This is what we do. Here's who we are. Here's what we do, and why that's important. Then the social proofing element is then going, that's your chunky content. That's going out and going, here's hard hitting facts, evidence of why you need to be working with us. Because if you don't, you're the one missing out, not us. We don't do any cold calling. We don't do any cold call outbound stuff at all. Everything we benefit from is from those two pillars. And I'm 99% confident that if I was to spin up a recruitment business tomorrow and employ that same approach and tactic that I've done with what we do at Rec Tools and Rec Talk, we would be inundated with inbound.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that, Nitin. Everybody is kind of shaking their heads at the podcast. Please don't do that.
I have no interest in doing it.
No, you did allude there to the fact that we're going to start getting onto some more practical things about what people should do. I think we've laid a lot of groundwork, which I really appreciate. So in a second, we are going to be coming on to the practical things. But before then, Mike, it is my favorite time of the lesson where we talk about, it's a message from our sponsor, which still remains to be us.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Always.
Okay, so we know that a lot of recruitment companies out there aren't happy really with what they do. We know that. We know that things aren't the way that people want them. In the way that Nitin just described, the industry has changed and is continuing to change. We're in the middle of a transition period. We're not finished anywhere near where this transition is going to go. But I wonder if any of these sound familiar to you, right? Because I've worked with a lot of recruitment companies, and having been through that process myself a couple of times as well, these are the kind of things that I think that people think about. And things aren't the way they should be. And you want things to be better, but you're not necessarily certain of how you should move forward. Well, we run profit, lifestyle, and wealth workshops. And the idea of a PLW business is a business that makes you a lot of money. You don't have to work in it all the time. It's not overly dependent upon you. And ultimately, you become wealthy without selling your business, because the chances of selling it are pretty slim. Less than 1%. In the United States, for people listening there, it's less than 0.1%. In the United Kingdom, it's about 0.2 or 0.3%. So it's tiny. So to have a business that's going to give you that exit because you've got enough money, but actually it's not a particularly irksome thing to run, is something we're very passionate about. So these workshops are explain how to build a safe, and safe is a really important word. So nothing outside the business or inside the business happening can threaten it. So the economy changing or the sector changing or someone leaving is not going to severely damage your business. That's really important. High profit, because net profit is exactly what enables everything else. Your lifestyle, to hire people if that's what you want to do, to give you that retirement fund. It's all about net profit. And of course, you don't want a business that depends upon you day to day, because that's not much of a lifestyle business if you do. So let me explain very quickly what these are. We're running one of these tonight, but it's full. The one in March is full, but we have one in April where there's still spaces left before we finish for the summer. 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the afternoon. It's online. It's a Zoom call. We have a maximum of 8 spaces because it is a workshop. It's not like a webinar where we just talk at you. It's very interactive. People do some prep work and they come in, and we really make this work for them. It's free. We don't charge for this. And if you'd like the one pager that explains it, you just put down below PLW workshop and we will send it to you. And it's up to you then if you want to try and bag a place, or if you're listening to a recording of this or watching this, or you'd rather not put anything in the comments, which I understand, you can just DM me with the words PL workshop and I will send you the one pager for you to review and decide if you'd like to come. These are very popular. We put them out and they tend to fill. We've just started to promote this, and I think we've got 3 people signed up already. So there's 5 spaces left. If you'd like to come, get the one pager. And if it sounds like it's the thing for you, then tell us and we will hold your place for you. So I hope people out there who do recognize how difficult it is to grow a perpetual growth business consider an alternative, which is exactly what the profit, lifestyle and wealth model actually is.
Perfect. Okay, and hopefully we'll see some people there. Now, before we get into the practical things, there's this comment that I absolutely love, Nitin, which I'm going to bring up from Sharon, which she said, pebbling in the neurodivergent community means providing evidence of thinking of someone considerately. It's a form of love language. And I love that. And I think that really comes
That's exactly where I derived that from. Pebbling comes from basically penguins who like to drop little pebbles at the feet of the penguins that they like. And then in terms of kind of that then evolved to, and we all do this, we all have friends that we must not necessarily see all the time or we think of all the time, but what we do have is we know what they like, and we see something on Instagram and we'll send them the meme. Oh, you'll like this, you'll find this funny, right? That's kind of the idea behind social pebbling. That's what that is. Right? You'll pebble your friends with like, oh, you'll like this meme, or this was really funny, I'm thinking of you. You're letting people know you're thinking of them. And so that's what we kind of thought, okay, people do that in the real world, so let's pull that into the business world. That's what we need to be doing. Here's who we are, here's why you should care, you know. And because actually your network, you hear all the time, your network's your net worth and that kind of thing. Your LinkedIn network should really be full of people that you're engaged actively in conversation with. Otherwise, what's the point? You might as well put them in your CRM.
Very, very true. Okay, so now to sort of answer the question that I imagine a lot of people have in their head is we've set the scene and we kind of understand what it is they're supposed to do. But as a business owner, you're short on time. You're being constantly sold, this AI product can do this AI product can do this ChatGPT add-on can make your whole life spectacular and full of roses and shiny things. And it gets really overwhelming really quickly, and you don't have a lot of time, you make a lot of decisions. So if possible, could we give people like, okay, they're sitting down, they need to start creating content, they don't have a lot of time. What kind of things can they do to create content that not only is going to be interesting to their network, it's going to add value, it's going to pebble, it's going to make them interesting, but also that they could potentially use to build chunky content as well?
It's a good question, really good question. Yeah, there's simple things that anybody could start tomorrow, right? I think it's got to start with some sort of strategy, and that strategy has to be, what are you trying to achieve, right? So are you in a business that is candidate short? Are you running a recruitment business that is client short? You know, and again, going sort of root cause analysis of that, right? It's all about the why, because, not just, oh, I need more candidates. Why do you need more candidates? You know, actually the candidates don't respond to me when I send messages. Right. That's okay. Why are they not responding to you? Right. So it's truly understanding the root cause of the problem you're trying to solve, and then going, okay, now what's the strategy I want to deploy for that? Right. If the issue is that actually you need more vacancies, okay, why do you need more vacancies? Because our fill ratio is 1 in 4, and actually we haven't even got the 4 to fill. Right. Okay. There's another issue at play here. Your fill ratio shouldn't be 1 in 4, right? You should be operating at a 1 in 2 at worst case scenario. So you've got to kind of really drill down where the issue is. But effectively, look, whether it's candidates or whether it's clients, we speak to a staggering amount of people in a month, in a week, right? If you are inch wide, mile deep in a particular niche or area, dentistry, recruitment, or life sciences, or whatever it might be, or even if you're a geographical generalist, right? You're speaking to, and your teams are speaking to a plethora of people, be it clients, be it candidates. Generally speaking, you should have a note taker by now. And if you don't, there's loads of free note takers to start with. Your CRM really should have one in there at this point in time. You've got data and you've got access to this data. It's what you do with that data then that becomes the kind of aha moment, right? And that's not going to ChatGPT and say, hey, write me a blog about this. That's things like, so what we do actually, and I think this works really well for us as a business, is we go into Notebook LM, powered by Gemini, Google, right? And with Notebook, you can put in external sources, and the AI model will only operate on the data that you're putting into the system. So it won't go out of that and won't deviate from the single source of truth that you're providing it, which means that it's not going to hallucinate and it's not going to start making up figures and
making. Not going to lie to you, is it? We were talking about that earlier. Not going to lie to you.
No, because of how it's designed. So what we do with ours is we will put in. So if I've got a client who's been on the podcast multiple times, I can put in the YouTube links for that podcast into the knowledge base, and I can then interact with the LLM based on those conversations. And I can say, give me a report, a checklist, white papers, and 3 SEO optimized blogs that I can put on the website, all of which are designed to point people to these videos. And the idea being that actually it will say things like, here's a outlandish statement, and actually Kirsty said this statement at this point, and this is where it was. And so I can click on that and it will take me to that video. How do I use that in the recruitment sense? Well, okay, you're speaking to a ton of candidates in the dentistry industry, and that month you've spoken to a load of them, and you're like, well, I think there's a trend here, but I'm speaking to some are saying this, and then my team is speaking to them and they're saying that. And, is salary really an issue? Is location, work from home, is that still a conversation? We're not too sure. We'll just take all of that data, chuck it into the knowledge base of Notebook LM, and then tell that to go, right, give me some analysis here. Give me some headline points that I can use as a clickbait on my LinkedIn, and to get people to actually go, oh, I didn't think of that, or that's interesting. Give me some reports that we can put together. Give me some checklists that I can send to hiring managers and say, hey, before you make this hire or before you start this recruitment process, here's a checklist that we've put together for you that allows you to determine whether or not you even need an agency on this one. And if you do need an agency, what type of agency you need. And you can use AI to create all of these guardrails and frameworks for you that you then use in your business development. So then you can use that for your social peddling. You can use that for your sort of your FOMO content or your social proofing stuff, right? You can actually have a reason to call clients that isn't, are you hiring and can I make that vacancy placement for you? Actually, you can go, hey, we're a data business. Recruitment's a data business. You know that, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client. We've been speaking to 150 candidates this week, and there's a bit of a trend. I don't know if you knew this trend existed or not. I don't know if you know that this is happening out there, but here's some of the key points that was going on. I've got this report. Let me send it to you. Or better yet, why don't you jump on a Zoom call with me? I've got a presentation thing, and I could just talk you through it and our findings and that kind of thing. You might find it useful. This works for TA leaders too. Because TA leaders are always looking for things that will add value to them and make them look like $1 million to their bosses. And they don't have the courtesy that we have, and they're not fortunate that we are. We get to speak to a majority of the market. They only get to speak to the ones that want to work for Boots Opticians, and so they're only ever going to see the sort of a laser pointed view from candidates. So there's your value add.
Can I add something into this as well? Because that point that you made that I just brought up there, I think is so important. Recruitment now is a data business, and you said earlier it always has been. Yeah, I think so, but it was more to do with performance data. Now it's actual data that you can produce content from. It's completely different. But I think that once you get into this, then the conversations that you have with your candidates, with your clients, you start asking questions on purpose to get answers that the AI can pick up later.
That's it.
So you can sort of say things like, well, what are you interested in right now? What topic are you researching? What are we not talking about that we should be talking about? Yeah. These simple questions pull out answers.
Where you're working right now, Mike, what kind of things are they researching, developing? What kind of things are going on behind the scenes? You're getting competitor analysis. Massively valuable thing if you're in the engineering space and you're speaking to somebody who's a mid-level engineer at Rolls-Royce, and they're letting you know of all the different cool things that they're working on at the moment. And that might not mean anything to us. Let's be honest, right? For the most part, we have a surface level knowledge of kind of the industries in which we operate, but we don't truly understand what the fuck these guys are talking about. But we're getting all this data and knowledge, and then you chuck that into the AI and you go, I think this person was trying to tell me something. Or actually, I've got these 3 clients. Based on this conversation alone, is it worth me sending them to this person? And if so, what's the angle here? Where's the in? And actually, here's the client notes from the conversations I've had with the engineering managers at these 3 companies. Is there any sort of like transferable there? Actually, yes. They were talking about nuclear engineering, and these guys have told you that they've got a nuclear engineering project on, and you might have missed that in the conversation. But there's your hook.
But also, and this is so important, right? Is that the machines can do things that humans can't do very well. We can do plenty of things that the machines can't do. But what the machines can do is analyze a ton of data and spot patterns. So you might have, I don't know, like you said, you might have, in a month, you might have 100 conversations, right? Yeah. Kind of hard to remember what was said in all of them. And you've got to have a certain kind of brain to think, oh, well, so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that.
And bias kicks in, Mike, and we enjoy certain conversations with certain people, and we drift through other conversations because we're like, fucking, this is boring, right?
We need to get through.
The matter is you're missing great things along the way, right? And that's where, like, I love it, as you know, I love a good analogy, right? Tony Stark could have built an entire army of Iron Man suits that went out and did the fighting for him. But he didn't. He built the suit around himself because he knew that he was the main kind of brain in the operation. The suit allowed him to do incredible things that he couldn't do, but without the brain within there, these were just robotic pieces of metal doing a task, i.e. agents. That's the world we're in right now. And what people really want, and people will always engage with, is the Tony Stark. Now, swap out Tony Stark for a boring person. Yeah, not so engaging anymore. Iron Man's not so interesting anymore. And the other analogy that I landed on over the weekend while we were talking about this with friends was that I know I'm not a fan of F1, but F1, all the cars are effectively the same in terms of the ability, the speed that they can go to, and all the rest of it, right? The difference maker is the team around those machines and those drivers and the team of drivers. That's the world we're entering into right now in recruitment. It's no longer about, oh, Kirsty's a great recruiter because actually she remembers a lot more of the conversation, or she's really, really geeky and likes these little things that the clients love, or, this person's really good at this. And, I've got all these different people and my top recruiters are really good salespeople or really good to hit the phones first. And they don't care about being told no 100 times. No, what a good recruiter is going to be today is do the stuff that the AI can't do, i.e. be engaging, be charming, open a conversation, carry a conversation,
interested
information. That's it.
Yeah.
All those intangible things, because actually me, you, anybody in this watching this today has access to the same LLMs to do the same information and to the same information gathering exercises. The difference is my ability to ask the questions, your ability to ask the questions, and their ability to ask the questions, and then turn that into a valuable item to take to those clients and not say, hey, I want to sell to you, but to say, I want to deliver value to you. Do you know what? I want to work for you guys. I want to do things with your business. I want to place candidates into your business, but I accept you don't know who I am. And there's a reason for you to work with me. So what I want to do over the next 6 to 8 weeks is provide you reason after reason after reason to engage with me on the vacancy. Does that sound fair? Hey, that sounds fair.
Okay, so
gets me though on this just quickly,
Mike. Yeah,
I know we're running short of time, but we're all equipped with these tools now. You can get them. Your recommendation, I believe, is not to spend any money on fancy tools. It's just to get the paid version of Chat or the paid version of Claude or whatever you want to use, which is 15 quid a month or something.
That's it.
We've all got the same tools. It's what we do with them that counts now more than anything else. And AI is so powerful, or can be, if it's used properly, but people are looking in the wrong place perhaps with this. This data that we capture, this information that we capture, and also the questions that we can start to ask, which means we capture even better quality. It's no longer by accident anymore. We're asking questions to get data that the AIs can then analyze. It's going to give us access to potential work. It's going to give us approaches to particular clients, particularly and particular candidates, but also it enables us to produce this content which is almost good enough to pay for. It's so good, people are really going to want that because it's going to be useful for them. And I think
people are having Zoom calls and team calls with clients at the minute, right? Ask for permission to record it, press the record button, and then use things like Opus Clip, use things that, the AI video generating software that's out there to make it look a little bit pretty. Start up a YouTube channel, have somewhere to store that information, that data. Because again, thinking about the social proof pillar that I spoke about, There's your social proof. Now, if I work for, large manufacturing business and I see Kirsty, my competitor, is on on their YouTube channel having a really in-depth conversation about our industry, and Mike's on there and he's also my competitor and he's having a really in-depth conversation about the industry, and I'm sat there going, oh, they never asked me. Well, why haven't we spoken to this person before? Oh yeah, we have, but they're not on our PSL. Fucking PSL. I want to speak to these people. Look, all of the candidates that I want working for me and all of the people I want to engage with me, they're all watching them. I want to watch them. I want them to talk to me. I want to be invited into these rooms. Creating this FOMO thing. Like, we're sat on all of this technology that allows us to really elevate ourselves away from being the traditional kind of window salesman recruitment of like, I just need the fee, to be, actually, I'm here to deliver you value and I'm a subject matter expert and I actually care about the industry in which I operate in. That is all available to all of us.
Yeah, and I think this idea of caring about the industry, giving back to the industry that you take from, but giving back, and this is a really important point. I don't think I perhaps made this very well before, but content is only valuable if your target community think it is. So if you produce the best looking piece of kit, maybe it's written, maybe it's audio, maybe it's video, doesn't matter. You produce this really great thing, you're so pleased with it, but your audience doesn't care about it, then it's a failure. It doesn't work. You have to produce stuff that your clients care about, because if you don't do that, that content doesn't work, whatever it might be.
And so I think will tell you, if you ask, they will tell you what they want.
Yeah, you go to the market. The thing with AI, it comes up with great ideas. Okay, you do have to test because it does lie. We know that.
Does lie.
But, we don't. But it comes up with ideas, and it's based on the data that you've gathered. Then if you go back to your community and say, look, we're thinking of running this event on this. We're thinking of producing a video on this or a webinar on this, or we're going to produce a white paper on it. We're going to do some research. If we did, would you be interested in the outcome? If they say, yeah, maybe, or not really, don't do it.
Yeah, we're a big fan of marks out of 10, because some people will say yes, and then you go out of 10 and they go 6. They don't care about it if it's a 6. Yeah. If it's anything below a 7, they don't care about it. If it's a 7, it's got legs, and you can go and sort of say, okay, well, what if we did this way? You might get it up. If it's an 8, 9, or 10, you could probably go ahead and run with it. So,
see, I'm a big fan of the concept of building public, right? For far too, what used to happen in the tech space was somebody would go away and behind the scenes build something behind the scenes and then launch it in this big boom. Oh, we're doing this. Look how great we are. And then try and spend a ton of money on marketing it to convince you that, hey, this is a problem and now you need it, right? What works really well now across the board, regardless of industry, is building public, where then people go, I want to solve this problem. How? How do you want me to solve this problem? So you pick up the phone to your clients or prospect clients, because this is really aimed at prospect clients as an example. Mm-hmm. You pick up the phone to them and you ask them the question outright. Listen, I want to be in the conversation when you're reviewing your PSL in 6 months' time, when you're considering using an agency. I want to be in that conversation. How? What can I do? I've got some ideas and I'll present those ideas to you, but I want to hear it from you. What can I do to be in that conversation with you guys? What are the guys that what are people not doing, or what are they doing really well that I could replicate and also give additional kind of a different angle on, right? Build in public, because actually that's what people really engage with. Again, that B2B to C world, because that's what this is. You ask somebody that question, you make them feel so empowered and so special that they will give you the answers. You do these 6 things, mate, I'll get you on the PSL. And one of those things might be drop off some muffins.
That adds a lot of value.
Yeah. Always available for muffins. It's massively underrated.
I'm thinking of putting a PSL together, folks, if anyone's interested.
Seldom required. It was available. Okay, so we have, unfortunately, I sort of lost track of the time. I was listening
sorry.
No, it's my fault. So we're towards the end of the show. So in a second, we're going to come to Nitin and Mike, I'm allowing today as well, for their top tip. But before then, Mike, can we talk about our next guest? Because it's sort of actually linked to what we've been talking about today.
Yes, it is. It's like we threw this show together, right? So we've got Natasha Klumchuk on, and she's going to talk about how she wins retained deals from her podcast. She's only been doing it for about 6 months. She's won several retained deals with new clients. I just should say that. These aren't existing clients she's got the deals from. did the podcast do it? No. These are specifically tracked back to her podcast. She's going to come on the show and tell us exactly how she does that step by step. It's a very impressive story, and we're looking forward to having her on the show 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, we are very excited about that. It's going to be a good one. Okay, so Nitin, you've shared a lot today, and I think there's definitely something people can take away. Go and take those scripts, those recordings that you've got of meetings, put them in chat, ask it to create something for you, pull out trends, pull out things like that. I love it. From your point of view, people are watching this and they're thinking that's all well and good and I'm going to do that. Is there one thing that you think is more important than anything else for them to do?
Absolutely. Natasha's a perfect example of this. So I actually helped her set up her podcast when she was umming and ahhing about.
I know she did. She told me that.
Doing that.
She did, yeah.
Which is my top tip. Thousands of people will hear about this and only tens will action it. Just make sure you're in the tens.
Yeah, very good. Go do, as someone says a lot. Yeah.
Go do and have a go. Have a go. What's the worst that could happen? Really?
How hard can it be?
Yeah, how hard can it be? We can do it. So anyone else?
It could be really hard.
Yeah.
But you won't know until you do it.
Yeah, just have a punt. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Nitin. Mike, you can't help yourself, can you? So you want to have a top tip today. So do you want to share with the lovely people what your top tip is?
Yeah, I do, because I've seen so many people produce content that they think is brilliant and it just isn't. And the reason it isn't is because they didn't test it with their community. Whatever you come up with, talk to your community and ascertain whether what you're going to produce has got legs, whether it's going to resonate with that audience or not. Because if it doesn't resonate with enough people, don't do it. No matter how clever you think it is, it's a waste of time and money. Pick on something that they say, oh, that's a 9 or a 10 or an 8. Yeah, I really want that. If you do that, I want to come. I want to see that. Go to your community because they've got the answers.
I like that. We all have limited time, so make sure you spend it where it's going to be useful. So, unfortunately, we have come to the end of the show now. So, first of all, I want to say a massive thank you to Nitin today. As always, a diamond guest. So, thank you very much for being here, Nitin.
Thank you. Very enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who's watched and for those people who have added comments. We love it very much. Thank you very much. If you're watching this, feel free to subscribe to either LinkedIn, YouTube, or the podcast. It makes our day better. And I want to say thank you to Mike because he's been a magnificent beast.
Can I clap myself because no one else does?
With his poorly cold.
Yeah, with my cold. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. And time has whizzed by. I cannot believe that we're over time now, actually, 2 minutes over time. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes, Nitin, if you hang around afterwards.
Yeah, of course.
It goes. But thanks to Kirsty, obviously, for being the hostess with the mostest, the chat master, and for Nitin, who came on and did a blinder, as he always does. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.